So I was visiting a friend of mine and that lives in San Diego, which is I live in San Francisco, which is we're I would like to say that we're more liberal, and in a lot of ways we are. So San Diego is very socially conservative. It is in fact so socially conservative that it is like walking into 1952 in many ways. And my friends who I've known since high school, a lot of her friends are very socially conservative. They're so socially conservative. They sort of look at me like I'm the sort of expression of like I can't be trusted for sure. They don't know where I'm coming from. They kind of want to poke me with a stick to see if I'll flinch. Like, you can tell that, you know right away when people don't like you and they don't trust you. And, it's so hard to tell why people hate you because you're a woman, because you're a lesbian, because you're feminist. Like, and by feminist, I mean, like, I think rape is wrong. Like, that's where feminism is now these days. So these people are socially conservative and they, have this sort of permanent scowl. And I grew up in Florida, so I understand, like, once people are, I think, over the age of, like, 65, if you're conservative, it's probably because you're old and you're falling apart and, life is scary and hard. And, most people who are older, like, we get more conservative. And I think it's just because life is hard and stuff. But when you meet young people you, who are conservative, you're just like, God, you're going to have so much time to be a dick. Like, don't start now, because then you'll have a whole lifetime's worth. Like, wait until you're older and, like, you can steal people's frisbees. Young people, when their frisbees go into your yard, you can go yell at them and take their frisbee. Like, don't do that in your 20s. Like, oh my God. I mean, like, this group of friends is so evil as a group. Like, one of them literally works for Monsanto. Like, let me just say that. Like, anyone who is working for Monsanto and okay with working for Monsanto, there's something wrong with them. Like, that's like saying, like, oh yeah, well, I work for the devil, but it's a paycheck. It's okay. Like, whatever. I know, or I don't know, or I don't care, or whatever. So I can't even imagine how conservative these folks are going to be when they actually do reach the age of being conservative. Like a retirement, are they going to be like, I don't know, funding the School of Americas and like killing children for fun, like drowning kittens? I mean, like, if you're this conservative in your 20s, like, how far does it go? So that's my don't be conservative until you're at least 65. Like, if you're going to do it, wait till you're 65 and, like, everybody will forgive you for it because you're scared and life is hard. No, don't do it in your 20s because then you just look, like a sociopath. Like, it just doesn't look good on a 20 something face. That's unsolicited advice number 469. Yes, don't be conservative till you're 65. So I took this gigantic 45-day train trip last fall, and I saw, like, basically everyone I knew. It was like, this is your life by train. And I saw my old next door neighbor that I grew up next door to in Florida, who I hadn't seen literally in 30 years. And we played catch together every day. Like, it was like the like best friend next door. She's 3 years older, and um, it was very interesting to sort of see how different, like the trajectory. Like, you knew somebody when you were a little seedling, and then you grow up and you walk over as another tree and say, oh, what kind of forest did you create? So I went to see her in Houston, and then I went to Austin, and of course I bought a guitar in Austin. I saw a friend, and you know we went to straight music, and which is ironic because neither one of us are straight. But we went to straight music, and I got this little Gitalele, and then I was on the train for approximately the next 9 days. I swear to God, it felt that way. Um, Going back home, so I had lots of time with my new tiny guitar, and this is the song that I wrote. We grew up next door. We had roaches on the floor. We grew up next door. Now we have clean houses houses. We grew up next door. We were poorer than the poor. We grew up next door. Now we have nice houses. We grew up next door. Our dads passed out on the floor. We grew up next door. Now we have sober fathers. We grew up next door. It wasn't much, but we couldn't ask for more. We grew up next door. Now we have clean houses. We grew up next door. We grew up with restraining orders. We grew up next door, and now we don't press charges. We grew up next door. We grew up next door. We grew up next door. Now we have clean houses. Oh yeah, that is what Florida is like. We grew up in a horrible neighborhood with just fraught with domestic violence and oh my god, drinking and Vietnam vets beating their wives every night and their children and like you could hear it if you like walk down the street at night, like dinner time, the gloaming, the sun is setting and the light is the magic hour and you know your mom's calling you in from playing and yep, there it is, man. You can hear like the cacophony, like every other house is just like screams and horrible sounds. But now we have clean houses. So yeah, that's I think you have to take no matter how horrible your experiences are, you have to you need you got to have a ukulele. You've got to have like a guitar ukulele thing on a train for days, and then you can turn whatever horrible experience you've gone through into a goofy folk song. That is the power of the human mind for denial and transformation and transcendence. I think. Yeah, that's. I hope you liked it. So my girlfriend doesn't. She doesn't like to go to parties, or places where there's people at all, and and she also likes to go to the doctor a lot. And so I'll go to parties or I'll go to events and people will be like, "Hey, where's your girlfriend?" And I'm like, "Well, you know, she's an agoraphobic hypochondriac. She's either at home or she's at the doctor's. That's it." But I'm Irish, and as it turns out, pretty much everyone in the world is a little bit Irish, and it's not because we're indiscriminate drunken whores. It's because we are irresistible to everyone. We are universally irresistible.